Yeah, that was kind of the conversation amongst the staff and the dugout was the quick 2 outs. I think it was 3 out of the 5 innings that he started off. It was 2 quick outs and then traffic. You felt good about it as that was going on. And then, I think it was to the Perez, maybe in the third inning, it was 3-0 count after the 2 quick outs, 3 kind of spread a couple fastballs and boom, hits a double, then off the thing goes. And I think it was maybe the 4th inning, they flipped in a little bit of a blooper after the double, same thing, 2 outs. So unusual for him. Usually I don't feel like we've seen that out of him since maybe last year when he first kind of came up, we saw it, but had a tough night. That's a really good team too. It's probably the best team in baseball right now. So you got to give those guys a lot of credit as well.
Is he making the kind of progress as a starter that you want to see?
Yeah, I feel like consistency right now, right? Like I feel like you see him in Seattle and how he handled Seattle, which is a lineup that was swinging the bat really good, and it helps you dream on him a little bit, and you feel good about him going into it. And you see the 2 quick outs, 3 of the 5 innings against a pretty tough lineup, and you feel good about him. He just kind of couldn't slow down the damage once it started. It happened really fast tonight, and that was probably the story of the game.
That's sort of been a theme for him, like 3rd time through the order.
Sure.
Has been difficult for him. That's obviously something that a lot of pitchers deal with. Is there anything that you think needs to happen adjustment-wise or pitch calling-wise when he gets 3rd time through the order so that lineups aren't really attacking him like that?
My guess is probably just experience at this point. It's hard for me to know the exact specifics of every individual pitcher, him included. That's probably a better question for our pitching staff. But, I think more than likely just continuing to get thrown out there and continuing to do it. And I think if we do it and he understands and feels our confidence in him, hopefully he gets a little more consistent and has more outings like the Seattle one.
Do you see any common trend? I mean, when you're facing a bullpen game, you're obviously seeing a lot of different matchups, but
Sure.
The offense to maybe struggle to put together sustained rallies. Did you see any kind of trend between the rallies any day?
No, I mean, they go with Herder, who I think has a 1.5 or 1.7 or something, and there's a reason why he's good. And the guys that you worry about are probably the younger left-handed hitters, and they did good. You look at Jackson, struck 2 balls well off him tonight. Gunnar, big 2-out knock. O'Hearn, I think, faced him once, got hit in the elbow, got on base. So I think the right-handed at-bats probably didn't help as much against him. The kid that came in next did a good job. Looks like the sinker was sharp. I felt like we started to get to him as the game went on. I liked the at-bats against Conley. I thought it was good. We had a pretty good chance to load the bases right there. Didn't happen. And then in the 9th inning against Vest, who's probably one of the better guys in the business right now, or as consistent as anybody, I feel like we put up good at-bats against him. I think as the lineup is healthy, which it is right now and getting healthier, I think there's a lot of confidence that we'll start to string together more at-bats.
How nice was it to see Jordan Westbrook go deep there?
Yeah, and like that, the first at-bat, the ball he hit hard right at the second baseman. Like when I saw that, that's Jordan Westbrook. When he's flying off the ball and hooking stuff and out in front and breaking posture, and that's not Jordan. But the guy that hits a bolt right at the second base on first at-bat, it was a really good feeling watching that. And I think those are the types of at-bats that lead to the home run later in the game.
Gunner's second at-bat, 10 pitches, laid off some tough ones, found off a few others. Is that more what you kind of expect from him against lefties?
Yeah, it's what we saw last year. I mean, he was really good last year against left-handed pitching. It's what we need him to do. And it's what Jackson needs to do. And Jackson, I mean, outside of the Sunday game in Oakland or Sacramento, he's been handling them pretty good. So feeling better about the direction they're trending, and there's going to be days where they're not good against them. But I feel like the more days we have like this, it's good.
What led to the move with Mateo?
He had that collision. If you guys remember about 10 days ago, collision, inflammations building up over time, just talking to us about it, bothering him a little bit, got it imaged, kind of saw what it was. Group got together and made a plan to take care of Georgie and made the decision.
It's no secret that you guys have to play at a 90-ish win pace in order to potentially make the playoffs. In a season like last year or 2 years ago, a loss like this, it's maybe easy to point to the positives. But
Sure.
When you know how much pressure is on each game, what do you say to your team? Does it feel kind of the weight, I guess, post-game after losses continue to build up?
Well, I mean, it's grown men in there. We don't talk to them after the game. They know. So they know how important these games are. And, I mean, they prepare with incredible urgency every day. I've used that word a lot, and it's in the building. You feel it in the dugout. You feel it in the preparation. You feel how they play. Against Conley, a pretty good eighth-inning guy who's having a great year, they gave themselves a shot, right? You bring up the tie and run to the plate in almost drew a walk right there. And then in the 9th inning against Vest, some good swings right there. You get a home run, Urias hits the ball hard. There's no quit, there's no panic. They're competing. Again, the preparation day to day is outstanding. And you just got to keep playing.
Patience you talked about with Povich. With Mayo, is it the same issue of you being patient with him?
Yeah, I mean, I think we are being patient, and we see great signs of progress from Kobe. I think anytime a young player comes in, I think you're weaving them into a big leagues a certain way. So, you think back to a couple years ago when Westberg came up and looked at, how Westy kind of weeds himself into the big leagues and how he's used. I think it's probably a pretty good blueprint for Mayo, and we'll continue to do that with him. So yeah, I think anytime a young player's here, I think every young player is probably built differently. I don't think we treat everybody the same by any means. I think that's probably a myth. But I think, a lot of smart people get together and they ask what's best for the kid, how do we handle this kid? And then also balance trying to win the game every night, which is the most important thing. So I think we're trying to marry the two together, and I've said it before, I think most teams in the big leagues are trying to balance development and winning on a nightly basis in some form or fashion.
I know we got kind of past it, but what's the level of concern with Mateo given the history with that elbow?
Anytime you have a history like that and something pops up, there is concern. I feel like our medical staff isn't super concerned about it. I think it's more a scenario of let's take care of Georgie, let's make sure he's healthy and give him the best chance to help us win and help himself.